This is the story of a 9/11 eyewitness, Richard A. Siegel, who filmed the World Trade Center from across the Hudson River in Hoboken. His raw footage contains a digital recording of explosions that occurred before each tower fell, indicating that both towers were brought down by controlled demolition along with 7 World Trade. Following numerous pre-collapse explosions, clouds of dust can be seen rising hundreds of feet from the base of the towers. We'll watch as an apparent helicopter rescue results in the collapse of the South Tower. We'll see how the reinforced elevator floors directly below the South Tower impact zone should cause the top section to topple into the street in a genuine collapse. We'll see how the official story violates Newton's 3 laws of motion, the law of inertia, the law of conservation of momentum, and we'll see that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. We'll examine the explosive upward ejection of North Tower debris using the laws of projectile motion. We'll see how the collapsing tower's seismic data in the FEMA report contradicts the law of conservation of energy. Were the laws of science magically suspended during 9/11? Or is the official story a fraud? We'll measure 7 World Trade at free fall speed in a vacuum created by demolition explosions. We'll hear leaseholder Silverstein reveal this truth in a PBS documentary that mysteriously went out of production. Prepare yourself for the classified truth about what actually happened during U.S. War Game Exercise Week. There is a problem with the World Trade Center demolition plan. Firemen have reached the South Tower impact zone and reported by radio that the fire is under control.
Okay, 7 Alpha. Ready, come on over by us. I got it, folks, 1-5. We got 2 isolated pockets of fire. We should be able to knock it down with 2 lines. Ready? You know that. 78th floor. Numerous 1045, go on. Chief, what stand you in? South Stairway, Adam. South Tower. 478. California. Numerous civilians. There's 2 engines up here. 10-4, we're on our way. 7 Alpha to Robbie, command post. Chief Palmer reports on the 78th floor, numerous 1045, code 1. We got isolated pockets of fire. We're going to need 2 hand lines up there, K.
While the brave firemen prepare to extinguish the isolated pockets of fire with 2 hose lines, the evildoers must move up the timetable. If the fires are put out, there will be no reason for the towers to fall.
It was very much like a controlled demolition when you look at it, because the building essentially fell almost vertically down, as if someone had deliberately set blasts to take place to cause the building to fall vertically downward.
A case of a situation that you thought couldn't get any worse, getting progressively worse. First one plane crashing into the World Trade Center, then a second crashing into the second.
Mysterious bright flashes were seen from the chopper that was dropping a line out above the South Tower moments before it became the first steel structure in history to collapse.
Capital evacuated. The Sears Tower in Chicago has been evacuated. There was no threat of an attack against the Sears Tower, but they're obviously going to quit while they're ahead there.
The seismic record from Palisades, New York, as published in the FEMA report, indicates massive peak signals of short duration, typical of high-velocity military weapons-grade explosives, that registered 2.1 and 2.3 on the Richter scale. These are 15 times larger than the plane impacts and huge fireball explosions. Collapsing debris can be seen forming a tail signal, similar in scale to the impacts, following the explosive peaks that run off the bottom of the chart for the North Tower. Evidence for controlled demolition is confirmed by a 3D seismic fingerprint. The computer demolition program produces similar timing in the seismic signals, as we can see by overlaying the data from the North and South Towers. The seismic data form a close match even though the collapses were very different, indicating that the peak signals represent the destruction of the 47 steel box column internal support framework at the bedrock foundation. The peak signals occur at the beginning of the collapse for both the North and South Towers, before debris has hit the ground, confirming that high-speed explosive events were responsible. As Chopper 4 moves away from the North Tower, its white belly becomes visible from another camera angle near the church on the other side of the building. Is this a genuine New York Police Department air-sea rescue chopper that simply decided not to rescue anyone? Or is it participating in the tripod emergency war game exercise FEMA started running September 10th at the World Trade Center from the Port Authority Command and Control Headquarters at Pier 92, and being ordered not to rescue any potential eyewitnesses to the top-secret exercise? As the South Tower begins to fall, we can see a dark smoke collapse zone at the top and the corner structure intact. A light-colored dust detonation zone quickly progresses down the side of the tower while the corner structure remains intact. Within 3 seconds, the detonation zone has become roughly 30 stories tall, with the dark smoke collapse zone far above. Upon returning to the World Trade Center for the first time since 9/11, Rick went in search of the cause of the tower's collapse. According to the official story, office furniture like this was ignited by jet fuel and weakened the thick steel framework. Does this seem reasonable to you?
Honestly, I never thought the towers would collapse. It just never occurred to me. They had stood there since 1970 when we opened, and it just didn't seem possible.
The towers were made up of heavy steel that had been designed for superior strength.
High-strength steel that had not been available before made this possible.
Building cranes were positioned on the internal steel framework made up of 47 heavy steel supports, indicating just how sturdy this internal structure was. However, the official theory explaining the collapse of the towers claims that an ordinary office furniture fire could actually be responsible for weakening heavy steel to the point of collapse. Imagine all the chefs who cook over a hot blue flame without melting their frying pans. The idea that a much weaker office furniture fire could cause any harm to these steel frame towers is pure fantasy, and therefore required a suitable dramatization to fool the public.